What if I told you there's an ancient symbol buried in history, almost erased, that could unlock your mind's full power? Not manifesting vibes, not just good energy. I'm talking real, measurable change. Let me show you why they never wanted you to see this. Let's go back for a second. Thousands of years ago, across ancient India, Egypt, and even forgotten parts of Central America, there was one symbol that kept popping up. It wasn't a god. It wasn't a word. It wasn't even meant to be spoken out loud. It was just a shape, but not just any shape. This thing, let's call it the cosmic spiral for now, was used by mystics, monks, yogis, and even warriors to literally hack their mental state. Not in a woo-woo, close your eyes and hope for the best way. I mean actual cognitive change. And here's where it gets wild. Every culture that used this symbol grew fast. Spiritually, mentally, even materially. Civilizations thrived around it. But then, poof, it started disappearing. Manuscripts burned, stones defaced, monks silenced. Why? Because this symbol gives power to the individual, not to the king, not to the priest, not to the system, to you. And we can't have that, right? But I found something. Buried in a 400-year-old translated text hidden in an online Sanskrit archive. I'll tell you where at the end if you're curious. But what I found there, it changed how I meditate, how I think, and honestly, how I see myself. So let's break it down. Let's talk about the symbol itself first. You've seen it before, even if you didn't notice it. Maybe on a temple wall, maybe in a yoga studio, maybe inked on someone's arm at Whole Foods. It looks like a spiral made of flames curling inward, overlapping itself 7 times. But here's the trick. You're not supposed to look at it. You're supposed to draw it in your mind. Ancient Indian texts called this antadrishti, meaning inner seeing. It wasn't art. It was a tool, a psychic code. See, back in the Vedic era, sages believed your mind wasn't just a storage space for memories and math equations. It was a literal transmitter, like a satellite dish. But it was rusty, blocked, interrupted by the noise of daily life. They believed symbols, sacred ones, could act like reset buttons. Each line, angle, and curve would reroute your brainwaves into harmony. And guess what? Modern neuroscience kind of agrees. There's a study from the University of Wisconsin that found people meditating on complex geometric patterns showed increased alpha wave activity, a state linked with flow, creativity, and super-focused awareness. Athletes call it the zone. Artists call it the flow. Monks call it samadhi. This symbol, this spiral fire, it taps directly into that. And here's the part that gave me chills. In Tibetan versions of this symbol, there are tiny dots etched into the curve. You can barely see them unless you're looking for it. But the dots are placed at precise energy intervals that match with, ready for this, the 7 chakras. Now don't roll your eyes. I'm not about to sell you crystals. This isn't about believing in chakras. It's about understanding your nervous system, your body's wiring. And for thousands of years, before we had MRIs and mood apps, this symbol was the map. Let's break that down. The first curve hits your root, your sense of safety, grounding. The second, your creativity and drive. The third, willpower, action, all the way up, until the final arc that spirals into nothingness, emptiness, the void. The symbol doesn't end. It dissolves. That's not a mistake. That was the intended destination. Because when your mind releases control, when you allow the spiral to carry you inward, it's not about controlling the world. It's about dropping the illusion that you have to. That's where the power lies, and that's why they hid it. Because a society of people who feel centered, connected, and untouchable can't be easily manipulated, can't be sold fake dreams, can't be broken by fear. That's the real danger of this symbol. It reminds you of who you were before the noise. All right, let's go deeper. Where did this symbol actually come from? There's no single answer, and that's part of the mystery. Versions of this spiral fire pattern show up across many ancient cultures, way before they had contact with each other, which honestly, that alone is weird. In the Indus Valley, it's found carved on meditation stones from 3300 BC in ancient Egypt. Similar spirals show up on temple walls near Karnak, places tied to initiation rituals. And in Mesoamerican ruins, you'll see swirling fire glyphs tied to their god of knowledge or inner light. But here's the kicker. Every single culture associated this pattern with inner awakening. The kind that doesn't need a priest, a middleman, or even a temple. It's a solo path, a personal portal. And that's exactly why it got erased. Because systems, whether they're political, religious, or commercial, don't like it when you go inward and stop needing them. Let me ask you something. Ever wondered why school never taught you how your mind actually works? Like really works? You know how to memorize, test, obey, but not how to reprogram yourself. Not how to deal with anxiety. Not how to tap into real stillness. Not how to wake up from the hamster wheel. Symbols like this question mark, they were the original tools of mind mastery. Before apps, before therapy, before podcasts. Let's get more specific. Ancient yogis believed this symbol was tied to what they called the Ajna Patha, meaning bridge of inner command. In modern terms, that's the link between your conscious and subconscious mind. So, imagine this. You're stuck. Life feels heavy. You keep repeating the same emotional cycles, same patterns, same self-sabotage. The spiral fire symbol, when meditated on, was said to cut through the mental fog and bring you straight to the root belief that's running the show behind the scenes. It's like opening your brain's developer mode. You stop reacting on autopilot and start choosing, intentionally, clearly. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sounds dope, but does this actually work? Here's what happened to me. I practiced this for 9 straight nights. No music, no apps. Just sat on my floor, lights off, and mentally traced the symbol in slow motion. It felt ridiculous at first, like I was doing ancient geometry homework in the dark. But by night 5, something shifted. I started seeing the thoughts I usually ignore, the tiny fears I don't admit, the old childhood beliefs I thought I buried. They didn't come like a flash of lightning. They came like whispers. And suddenly, I could choose not to listen. That's the power. You don't become someone new. You stop being who you're not. And that brings me to the craziest part, the suppression of this symbol. Around 500 AD, many ancient temples that used this symbol began getting erased, especially in India. Entire carvings were destroyed. Texts referencing the spiral fire path went mysteriously missing. In some places, like Persia, mystics were forced to encode the symbol in poetry. In others, it got absorbed into religious art, but stripped of meaning. And yet, it survived. How? Hidden in patterns, mandalas, yantras, even church stained glass windows. The spiral's core shape, circles rotating inward, made it through the filters. But its purpose? Forgotten. Because the truth is, you don't need to worship the symbol. You need to use it. It's a tool, a pattern for turning your thoughts inward and unlocking what's been buried under years of noise. And when you do, here's what happens. Your mind slows down. Like, actually slows down. Not numbed by a screen, not distracted, still. And in that stillness, something weird happens. You start seeing clearly, not just what's in front of you, but why you do what you do, why you react, why you crave, why you fear. And once you can see it, you're not stuck with it anymore. You become the one writing the script, not just playing it. People think mind power is about hustle and biohacks and waking up at 4 a.m. But the real flex is peace, the kind that doesn't break when life does. And that's exactly what this symbol trains you for. Now, before we go any deeper, I want to explain something most people miss. This isn't just a meditation aid. It's a code that works whether you believe in chakras or not, whether you pray or don't, whether you call it God, Source, the universe, or nothing at all. It's geometry for the soul, a sacred hack that aligns your nervous system, your focus, and your will. And all it takes is 5 minutes a day and the willingness to go inward. Let's get into the real deal now. You've got the context. You understand the history. But what actually happens when you use this symbol? How do you do it in real life? On a Tuesday night after work, when your brain's fried and TikTok's screaming for attention? Simple. You do this. Step 1. Get quiet. I know, sounds cliche, but this isn't about silence for the sake of silence. It's about cutting off outside signals so your internal radar can finally pick something up. Sit comfortably. Doesn't matter if it's on the floor or your gaming chair. Just sit and put your phone in airplane mode. Don't skip this. Step 2. Visualize the spiral flame. Close your eyes and imagine a tiny golden spark just above your eyebrows, right in the center of your forehead. That's your ajna, what mystics called the third eye. But don't get tripped up on labels. Think of it as your mind's movie screen. Now, picture that spark slowly expanding, turning into a golden spiral made of flame. It curls inward, not outward, like it's pulling your thoughts with it. One loop at a time, slowly. 7 spirals total. Each time the spiral curls, imagine it passing through a zone in your body. Your base, tailbone, lower belly, solar plexus heart, throat forehead, top of your head. You don't need to name them or chant anything. Just feel. Don't force. Let it pass through. And with every spiral loop, you'll feel your thoughts start to thin out, like fog lifting. Step 3. The moment of stillness. After the 7th spiral, pause. Visualize the flame vanishing into a single dot of light. Hold that dot in your awareness. Don't chase it. Don't try to think nothing. Just let it be. That's where the shift happens. You'll notice it. Some describe it as a subtle hum inside. Others say it feels like time slows down. For me, it felt like someone turned the volume down on life, and I could finally hear myself again. Now, here's where it gets freaky, in a good way. When you do this consistently, even for just a week, your mind starts doing it automatically. That spiral, it shows up in moments of stress, almost like a built-in compass. You're about to say something you'll regret? Boom. The spiral flashes in your mind. You pause. You respond with clarity. You're falling into old patterns, self-doubt, anger. Boom. The spiral pulls you back. It becomes a kind of mental muscle memory. Not forced, not fake positive, just present. And listen, This isn't spiritual perfection. You'll still lose your temper. You'll still get frustrated. But now, you'll notice it faster. And that awareness, it changes everything. Here's a wild bonus step a few advanced practitioners used. They draw the spiral flame symbol with their finger in the air or on their chest silently before doing something hard, like speaking, creating, or forgiving someone. It wasn't for drama. It was to prime their nervous system into a calm, focused state, like flipping a switch. We've all been trained to associate symbols with meaning. You see a stop sign, you slow down. You see a like button, you feel validated. This ancient spiral works the same way, except it's wired into your inner state. Once your body starts associating the spiral with calm power, insight, and control, it responds instantly. And that's how you turn an ancient carving into a weapon for modern life. Let's go even deeper now. Common experiences during the spiral visualization. I'm going to be real with you. The first few times you do this, your mind will fight it. It'll feel silly. You'll think, what the hell am I doing? That's okay. That's your programming resisting change. But stay with it. Here's what people often report after just 5 to 7 days. Vivid dreams. Your subconscious is finally dumping old files. Random clarity during the day. Solutions popping out of nowhere. Less reactivity. Stuff that used to piss you off just doesn't hit the same. Heightened creativity. You'll get wild ideas out of the blue. Write them down. Gut-level confidence. Not ego, just clarity. And sometimes, things you've been suppressing will come up. Don't be scared of that. That's your mind cleaning house. You don't need to fix it or figure it out right away. Just let it pass through like a storm. Spiral inward. Hold the dot. Repeat. Advanced application. Charging the spiral with intent. Once you get comfortable with the basic spiral practice, here's a way to amplify it. Before you start, set a clear, short intention in your mind. One sentence. Not a wish. Not a begging vibe. A statement like, I speak truth with strength. I release fear. I create freely. I remember who I am. Then, do the spiral. With every curl inward, feel the energy of that intention wrapping tighter into your system. Don't say it over and over like a chant. Just feel it sink in. This is how ancient mystics reprogram themselves. Not through external affirmation, but internal integration. This is where manifestation becomes real. Not a wish list to the sky, but a shift in identity. You stop trying to attract something and start embodying it. All right, so far, we've talked about how to use this spiral symbol. But now, let's talk about why it works. Let me hit you with a weird question. What if the spiral is more than a symbol? What if it's a universal blueprint? A pattern that exists not just in your mind, but in the actual structure of reality. Hold up. I'm not getting woo-woo here without backup. Let's look at what science and ancient mystics both say, because that's where things get trippy. The spiral is everywhere seriously. Look around. Your DNA? It's a double helix spiral. Galaxies? Spiral-shaped. Hurricanes? Spiral. Snail shells, sunflowers, pine cones, even your fingerprints, all spirals. The Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio, it literally creates spirals in nature. And ancient civilizations knew this thousands of years before modern science could explain it. Why does that matter? Because if your brain is part of nature, and if nature runs on spirals, then tapping into that shape might be like syncing your mind to the core code of the universe. That's not just poetry, that's math. This is symbol as signal. The spiral isn't just spiritual wallpaper, It's a pattern that aligns with how energy moves. Energy follows. Form mystics across cultures, Hindu yogis, Egyptian priests, native shamans, even early Christian Gnostics believed one thing in common. Energy follows form. That means when you place your mind on a certain pattern, like the spiral, you create a kind of energetic flow. It's like placing a riverbed and letting consciousness flow through it. The symbol becomes a vehicle, not the power itself, but the tuning fork for your inner frequency. You ever been in flow state? Like you're writing or creating or talking and everything just clicks? That's your mind syncing with something bigger than thought. These ancient symbols were meant to trigger that sync, not with belief, not with religion, just with form plus intention. And that is magic in its purest form. The brainwaves connection. Now let's bring this back to science for a sec. Studies have shown that when people meditate deeply, their brain shifts from beta waves, normal thinking, to alpha and theta waves, the ones linked to intuition, deep learning, and healing. Guess what the spiral visualization does? It slows your thinking. It shifts your awareness inward. And when you do that, your brain naturally enters theta state. That's the gateway state, where you're not fully asleep, but not fully conscious either. It's the zone where memories get restructured, beliefs can be rewritten, visualizations embed deeper. That's why people feel so different after using the spiral for a week or two. It's not placebo. It's neuroplasticity in action. You're not just calming your mind, you're changing the operating system. The symbol as an ancient portal. Let's go deep now. There's a theory among esoteric scholars that the spiral symbol was used not just for meditation, but for opening non-ordinary states of consciousness. Ancient shamans in Siberia would carve spirals into their staffs or drum patterns before entering trance. The Greeks built spiral labyrinths as meditation tools, not to get lost in, but to walk inward into the self. Egyptians? The Eye of Horus contains spiral geometry. Coincidence? Doubt it. They believed the spiral could activate dormant senses, what we now call the third eye, or intuition center. But here's the kicker. They weren't trying to escape life. They were trying to see through it, to pierce the veil, the illusion, the matrix of everyday distraction, and touch something eternal. And you know what? Every single person I've taught the spiral to has had some kind of inner shift, some small, some life-changing. Because it's not about the symbol. It's about what the symbol points to. You, your power, your clarity, the version of you that's not bogged down by fear, noise, or survival mode. How it plays out in real life. Let me give you a quick real-world example. There was this guy, let's call him Jake. Total skeptic. Tech dude, ADH. Hated all things spiritual. Thought it was a scam. He tried the spiral exercise after a breakup, just out of desperation. Day 1, couldn't focus. Mind was racing. Day 3, said he started seeing the spiral in his dreams. Day 6, he had this moment in the car, just driving. Spiral flashed in his mind, and boom! He realized the breakup wasn't a failure. It was a signal to level up. He started journaling, created a whole new project, started meditating daily. Now he's running a startup based on conscious tech. All because he followed a spiral inward. That's how fast it can happen. Not always dramatic, but always real. Symbol as mirror. Here's the truth most people miss. The symbol doesn't give you power. It reveals the power you've buried. Think of it like a mirror. It doesn't create beauty. It just shows it. When you focus on the spiral, What you're really doing is spiraling back to your core, stripping off the distractions, letting the truth rise up. And that truth is this: you're not broken. You're not behind. You're not late to the game. You're just disconnected from the ancient tech inside you. And this symbol? It's your reminder, your anchor, your password back into the mind you were meant to use. So you've come this far. You know the symbol. You've learned how to use it. And you get the deeper reason why it works. Not just spiritually, but biologically, mentally, cosmically. Now what? Because here's the truth: a lot of spiritual content skips. You don't change your life with one ritual. You change it by showing up every damn day, even when nothing feels different yet. How to integrate this into your life without turning into a monk. Let's make it stupid simple. Here's how to use the spiral in your daily life without making it weird. 1. 3-minute spiral drill. Morning. Before you grab your phone, sit up in bed. Visualize a spiral behind your forehead. Just breathe. Let it expand outward. 3 minutes. That's it. You'll feel more clear-headed and calm than 99% of people starting their day. 2. Use it in stress moments. Boss yelling? Overthinking at midnight? Close your eyes. Pull that spiral into your chest. Breathe out slow. Imagine the stress spinning out of you. 3. Spiral in journaling. At the top of your notebook page, draw a little spiral. Then write this prompt: what part of me am I returning to today? It's grounding, like hitting mental reset. 4. Spiral before sleep. Just trace a spiral with your finger on your blanket. Imagine the day's energy spiraling out of your body and into the earth. No words, just flow. Common mistakes to avoid. Here's what people screw up. Mistake number 1, forcing the experience. This isn't a video game cheat code. The spiral doesn't work when you force it. It works when you soften, let go, let it pull you inward. Mistake number 2, expecting fireworks. Some people are like, I didn't see colors or enter the astral realm, so it's fake. Nah, this isn't always flashy. Sometimes it's just less brain fog. One deep thought that hits different. That weird calm before a big day, small shifts. Massive trajectory changes. Mistake number 3, using it only when life's on fire. Spiritual tools aren't just fire extinguishers. Use them when you're stable too. That's when they really build inner muscle. The spiral is hiding in pop culture, right in front of you. Okay, want to trip out a bit? Ever noticed how many spirals are buried in media? In Doctor Strange, the portal opens as a spiral. The Naruto symbol? Spiral. The time turner in Harry Potter? Spiral movement. Even in Inception, the staircase dream logic. Spiral again. And in Westworld, they literally show the spiral as a symbol for awakening consciousness. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe ancient symbols are still alive in our art, stories, movies, guiding us subconsciously. That's the hidden message. Your mind already knows this pattern. You've seen it 1,000 times. You just forgot to look closer. Last layer, the ancient teaching that shocks most people. There's an ancient teaching from the Upanishads that goes like this: as is the microcosm, so is the macrocosm. As is the atom, so is the universe. As is the human mind, so is the cosmic mind. Let that hit. They were saying, the symbol doesn't just unlock your personal power. It unlocks a connection between your little human self and the infinite whole. You're not separate. You're not out here floating alone trying to figure life out. You are the spiral. You are the pattern. You are the ancient tech. And when you align your awareness with that pattern, everything flows different. You speak with more truth. You move with more presence. You attract with more ease. Not because the spiral did it, but because it brought you back to the version of yourself that already had it. That's the real power. Final visualization. Close with power. Take one breath right now. And as you exhale, imagine a soft, glowing spiral forming in your chest. Feel it move. Not fast. Just enough to remind you, you are in motion. You are evolving. Now, imagine one version of you sitting on the outer ring of that spiral. The version stuck in old thoughts, stuck in fear, stuck in survival. Now move inward, toward the center, toward your power, your clarity, your infinite intelligence. The spiral doesn't end. It just keeps folding inward, deeper, closer, wiser. And every time you return to it, you come back a little more whole. That is the gift, not from the spiral, but from the version of yourself who finally chose to listen.